Hi guys, this is going to be the tutorial that's going to show you how to make these really simple to make booties. Hi guys, so I was making a pair of booties the other day for myself because one of my booties got dirty, and so I went ahead and decided I was going to just make one then to replace it. So because there's always something happening at least one of my booties, so I thought, okay, I'm going to make an extra one. So I had a lot of scrap yarn in the back, and I had this and another wild color. I'll share some pictures with you. And I thought, well, I'll never use this for anything. There's not much left. So I went ahead and I started making the secondary booty out of that. And it started coming out with this like stripe pattern. I thought, wow, that is so cool. I've used solid with variegated. I've used two double solid colors, but I've never used two variegated colors together. And it came out like that. I thought, that's so cool. I gotta try it again. So I decided I would go ahead and grab two other colors. And this one is like dark. It's like three colors. I thought, okay, I'll try three colors. So I was trying to stay with three, possibly four colors, contrasting colors. I didn't think that these two would go so well, but when I made it together, it really looked cool. So I'm going to be showing you, and if you want any information about the yarn I did use on these booties, all the information that I have on them, I put them on the site, including lots of pictures and stuff. I've only made so far one pair, I should say not a pair, just one booty out of each one. I have a feeling that this would make a second one, though they may not match exactly, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, at least it doesn't to me. If you wanted it to be two exact same ones, I guess you could find out what color you start at the very bottom, like you do with color pulling, and then just start both strings, both pieces of yarn on that exact color again, and then start your second booty like that if you want to try to match them together. So anyway, I've been redoing a lot of my tutorials in HD, so I decided I would go ahead and do this one as well for you. So all you need for this project is you're going to want a marker of some kind, scissors, a tape measure, and 5mm hook, size H hook for the US, a tapestry needle because you are going to have to sew these together, and two different colors. I recommend try the variegated. I would love to see what kind of color combinations y'all would come up with. But just two worsted weight yarn, 4-ply for the US, 10-ply for Australia. Okay, to begin, you want to make sure you leave at least a 4-inch tail or so at the beginning before you create your slip knot, just because you're going to need that later to sew your booty. So what you can do is you have two options here. You can chain 30, which then that means for row 1 you're going to have to go through and do a whole row of single crochet. So you can chain 30, then chain 1, turn, and do single crochet, worked in all your stitches, or you can simply do a single crochet foundation stitch. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you that now because it's so much easier to learn how to do that. So to do the single crochet foundation, so let me show you how to do this with only one. That way it'll be easier, and then I'll go back and I'll do it with my two. So to do the single crochet foundation stitch, you want to start off by chaining 2. Then you want to go back into that very first chain, pick up a loop, 2 loops on your hook. You're going to chain 1, or I should say you're going to pull that loop through that first chain, which is essentially creating your chain, and then now you have the 2 loops you need for your single crochet. So then you just finish your single crochet. Now if you look on the side, you have let me get a little closer here. You've got 2 little spaces here on the side that you just created. This first one here, it's kind of longer, that is your chain, and then you've got this little stitch here on the side. This is your single crochet. You always want to go into the chain, just like you would if you made a row of chains and then single crocheted. You're going to work into the chain. So you want to go ahead and insert your hook into that one, and then pull up a loop, yarn over, only pull through one of those loops, leaving 2. See, you just created the chain again, and this is also the stitch we're going to go back into in a second. Then you yarn over and finish your single crochet. Then again, you're going to go back into that chain stitch, pull through, only pull through one, and then you'll finish your single crochet. Then you'll go back into that chain space, pull a loop through, pull through only one, and pull through two. And as you can see, you're doing your chain and your single crochet at the same time. And that's how you do your single crochet foundation stitch. Only pull through one, only pull through the chain, then you pull through two. And if it helps, you can always, when you make your first chain, by doing that, you can even hold it with your finger if it helps. Then when you finish your single crochet, you know that that's the stitch you need to go right back into. So that's how you do the single crochet foundation stitch. Okay, so it's a bit harder to do if you're not an expert at single crochet foundation stitches. It's harder when you have double strings instead of just one. So I recommend, if you're not an expert, or at least not used to it, I should say, then go ahead and just do a chain of 30 for a female or a chain of 35 for a male, and then single crochet in the second chain from your hook, and then single crochet down your chain. For at the end of your row, you should have 29 single crochets if you're doing female size, and 34 single crochets if you're doing it for male size. So when you get to the end of, I guess, if you did chaining, you would be at the end of row 1. So for row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn. And I'm making a female size, so I'm going to single crochet in the first 9 stitches. If you're doing male, then do first 11 stitches. But I'm doing female, so I'm going to do 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's okay if it curls, because you're going to be sewing this later, you won't see it. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Remember, you're doing 11 if you're doing male size. And when you get your 9 or 11 done, you'll pick up, you're going to be doing a single crochet, a front post single crochet. And how you do that is you push it forward to the front, then you'll pull, loop through the post instead of the stitch, and then you'll just pull through both of those to finish your single crochet. That's the single crochet front post. Now you're going to start in the very next stitch. Be careful, don't start in that stitch that you just worked on the post of. It can get confusing because nothing is in the stitch that you can see. So just be careful. Go into the next stitch, and again do 9 for female and 11 for male. 11 single crochet stitches in a row. So that was 3. Oh yeah, I want to find here where I did my front post single crochet. I'm going to pick up that post so that I won't lose it, and I'm going to count 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay, this is definitely my single crochet foundation stitch, and I'm going to mark it. This is going to make it so much easier later when you need to find out what direction that you're facing. So you know this is the part where it'll be facing the front post. So you always do front post when you're on this side, and then because on the other side you're going to need to do back post. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. This booty, by the way, is made flat, so it's super, super easy. Okay, once you have the 9, again, you'll pick up that front post, put a loop through there on the post, and then finish your single crochet. Then you should have 9 stitches left if you're doing female, or 11 stitches for male. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'm in the 9th stitch here. And I usually, if I'm not sure where the front post is here, I can count back 9 and I know it's the 10th one over. That also helps you be able to see. But it's super easy, just 9 single crochet, foundation stitch, then 9, then single crochet, foundation stitch, then 9, then single crochet, foundation stitch. Just count, see here, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay, now I've reached the end of my row 2, then you'll chain 1 and turn. Now for row 3, it's going to be the same except one difference. So we're going to start off by doing our 9 single crochet foundation stitches, or 11 if you're doing the male size. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, once you've got your 9 single crochet foundation stitches, you want to make sure that the texture stays on the same side. So we did front post. We don't want to bring the texture on this side. We want to keep it on this side. So we're going to do back post this time. So we're going to come in from the back of the stitch here, and then push that post back. Pull your yarn through that post, single crochet. And again, you don't want to work in that very next stitch because it is part of the post that we just did. Sometimes it looks like it, sometimes it doesn't. Again, I always find my front post on this side and then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I know I entered in the right stitch. I'm in the 9th one here. Once you've got several rows going, it'll be a lot easier for you to tell where your first stitch is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then we'll do another back post here. And then again, if you're not sure which is your your next stitch, you can count from the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know that this is the next stitch you need. This is super, super, super easy, super basic. So one of the first things that you can make when you're a beginner are these booties. So for round 4 is just a repeat of round 2. So you're going to be putting 9 single crochets and then front post single crochet, 9 single crochets, front post single crochets. Of course, if you're doing man, it's 11, 11, and 11. So you want to continue to do this until your piece reaches, let me get this piece here. This is another one that I was working on. Let me show you the colors on this one. I used these 2 colors, wildly different colors, but they work up like this. Just really, really cool looking so far. Can't wait to see how that's going to finish doing when it gets to the grays and stuff. It's going to look really cool. So you have to continue to do this until your piece reaches 14 centimeters or 5.5 inches. And this is the bottom part of the foot. Now we're going to be doing the toe part. Now I'm on the correct side. We're going to be alternating front and back post single crochets. The very first one will have to be a front post. How we're going to do that, instead of going in to the stitch like this, we're going to be coming through the stitch from the back like this. And we're going to grab up a loop. Then you'll have 4 loops on your hook, 2 from each side, and then you'll pull through all 4 of those. Then that's considered a front post. Now we're going to be doing a back post. So you'll want to come in from the back through the next stitch and then out through the very next stitch. Whoops, it's kind of hard to do this when I'm looking at the camera. Back through the other stitch. Whoops. Front and back. I don't have my yarn in the right way. So go through the front post, come out, single crochet. Oh, I need to be in front of my stitch. So you push that yarn back, then go through the back, and then out through the next. And then single crochet. Then go through the front, doing a front post. Then you'll come to the back, do a back post. Just going to keep alternating front, back, single crochet until you come up to this line here. We're going to make sure that when we fall on that line that it's a back post, because that's the way we would have to go if we were doing the row like we have been doing it. When this part's facing you, you always did a back post. It should line up to where you do a back post again. So the one in front, just like we have it here, front post. So if it doesn't line up for you, then you may want to flip your piece over and start with the other side facing you, but it should. So you have front post, now you do the back post on your line of back post. And then you'll keep doing that all the way down. Front post, back post. Continue this all the way down your row. Okay, so I'm almost at the end of my row. You have to do a front post, and then the very last stitch should be a back post, but you can't really do a back post, so I'm just going to do a single crochet the very last stitch. Then chain one and turn. And you can start to see the texture starting to form on your booty, the one that creates this top toe part. So for the second round of the toe, you'll come in again from the back to do your very first stitch, and then again from the back to push that post back. That's going to be your very first back post. Then you're going to be doing front post, then back post. Again, you're going to be alternating front post, back post, front post, back post. And it should line up here on a front post, and that's how you know you're doing it correctly and you haven't skipped any stitches or anything. So I do my front post here, back post, and then brings me to my front post. So you want to continue to do front and back, front and back, front and back. Just a second. I want to show you the next section of it when you get done with it, but I want to show you the colors that I use for this one. I went even different with the colors. And I have all the information if you want to get these specific kind, but it really doesn't matter if you just get two different varying colors that still look good together. They'll probably look pretty good together on the booty too. So you want to continue your front and back post until your booty reaches, I believe it's 24. Yeah, 24 centimeters or about 9.5 inches. And once it reaches 9.5 inches and 24 centimeters, then you can go ahead and chain one, and then leaving some tail again, because remember you're going to need to sew, and cut some tail here, and then you can just pull it on through. And I like to do this with this textured side showing, because when you sew, you want to have the good side on the inside so that you can, so that the sewing won't show as much. So I just like to do that sewing from the inside. So now's the time you want to take out your tapestry needle and thread these. You'll be threading two, so I hope you have a big one. Okay, let's get closer here. Okay, so as you can see, it's kind of already in a zigzag pattern, kind of back and forth, which makes it easier. I go ahead and I go through my very first stitch here anyway, and then I just kind of weave into the bump ones that are sticking up. Just try to grab them up like stitches with my needle. And then pull that through. do a little section at a time. Move my wires getting in the way here. I'm going to keep on grabbing up some of the stitches again, pulling it through. I don't know if you can see it. I'll get a little closer. Basically, I'm just pulling up stitch by stitch by stitch, pulling it through. So when you've got that part done, you should be able just to pull it and it will tighten that up. So now this will be like where your toes are going to go. You want to take it from here where you finished sewing, and you're going to equal it up on the other side by putting your needle through there so that you can kind of close that tip up. And then this is where I usually finish doing the very tip of my hole here. You want to close that up so you don't let it to let any, I did it from here. I want to kind of go up here because I don't want it to be long. I want it to kind of, I want it to be closed, but I don't want it to be flat. I want it to be more round. So 3 or 4 times in there should be good. You can check. The hole is gone. Then you want to fold your piece in half, and you can see where this is just the single crochet, and then this is our very first row when we started our front back, the front and back post single crochet. That section is the toe. So this bottom section is the foot, and you want to leave this open because you want to get your foot in here, and your toes are going to slide in. So we're only going to be sewing up to this single crochet rows. We're going to get all the single crochet foundation stitches done. So I'm up here at the very end. So now I just want to sew and work my way. Just going through these top stitches. Doesn't really matter where you put it through. You just want to make sure that this is in the right spot. And you can, which I do sometimes, I'll go through my very final single crochet row here and here, and then you don't need your, well, I don't have it here because it's on this one. You don't actually need this down there anymore. You can move this up just to close it like this, and now you know you just need to sew until here. It can help hold it in place, keep it straight while you're sewing. And you just go, don't go too deep, because remember this is going to be your toe room here. Go through just those top. And if you don't think that's a very good sew job going this way, then you can sew going back up again. You can double sew it. This depends on how good it is, you think. And this being stripes like it is, it's kind of easier to keep it connected. I mean straight. Looks neat. So I'm going to just go up a little bit more on here. And then when you get done, you can tie a knot if you want. Or you can just get your tapestry needle and feed it tightly down your booty, and it should also secure it where it won't come loose. And then cut it. Because you're going to need your needle again for the bottom here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this because I don't need it there anymore. So this is why we leave some tail at the very end when we start a slip knot, so that way we can use this little bit here to sew. Again, make sure that your booty is facing, this is the inside, and that your good side is inside here like this, the part you want to show. It's already connected to one corner, So you just want to connect it to the other corner. And then you're going to be working to your front post rows. So you want to line your 2 front post rows up, and you can also use the stitch marker to hold it there if you want. I guess if you're a beginner, I would recommend doing this, holding it tight there so that you can sew straight. And again, you're just going to be going through the top stitches. This back part I sometimes go back through as well. Do a double sew. If you want to do that too, then maybe leave a little extra yarn at the beginning. So using these 2 skeins of yarn like I did should be enough to create at least 1 pair of booties. So I'm going to go right up until my marker is here. Then I'll remove my marker. Now this is where you're going to create the heel. To create it, all you do is just make a T pattern here. So this is where it folds on the inside, where you have your rows of front post single crochet. So that's where you want to hold it, and you just push it down. And then hold it like this, where it's a T. And then go through kind of like an X pattern. Go through one way. Then I'll go through here. So I'm just going to sew up this little area first. And then come back through this other side of the X. And then crochet this side closed. And then you can come back down here to the middle area again. And then you can do another sewing this back part just to give a little bit more security. And then again, you can tie a knot, or you can just hide your tail through. As long as it's tight to pull. If it's hard to get through with force, it's definitely not going to come out very easily. And you cut your yarn there. And you can turn your piece inside out. And this is the good side. Now you can leave it like this if you want, which is fine, but my mom always would make a border to kind of come up over the heel. So it's up to you. But if you do want to do that, you want to do it on this side. So just choose one of the colors that you used for the booty. It doesn't have to be anyone specific. Darker or lighter. I think darker may look better, but I don't know. So I got it. You can use double strings too if you feel a need, but I never did that. I just do one single string and attach it somewhere at the front where the toes are here, where the connection is. And then I do a single crochet attachment, or you can slip stitch attach, whichever you prefer. Just attach your yarn. I'll pull up a string, then I just pull through 2. Now you want to go through all the side stitches. Just find one of the bigger holes on the side. It's really not hard to find a place to stick. And if you're doing it like me and you have all these stripes, it'll be easy enough to find the ends of the rows. They kind of separate on their own. To give this a little bit of a grabber on the end, and I don't think I put this in the pattern, I'm not sure, but this little part here on the back that's kind of goes down a little bit where we sewed, put that like this. So what I usually do is I'll go through this side, pull up a loop, then go through the middle section here where we sewed, pull up a loop. Then I'll do a single crochet, decrease there, and then I'll do the same on this side. and it just kind of pulls that more to hold on that side. I think I do that for the first 2 rows. So on this row and then the next one I'll decrease one more time, then after that I won't do it again. It's typically 5 rows of single crochets. So you can just do straight up 5 rows of single crochets and not do the decrease on the end. It is completely up to you. And sometimes I'll do a decrease here on the part here because it's not very closed. Just let me get to that part here. There. Okay, so here there's kind of a space. This is the beginning of the row. I mean, I could get in there, but a little difficult. So I think what I'm going to do is back up 1 and then go into the same stitch where I began. So right now I'm in the very last stitch here of my row, and then I'm going to go into the same stitch where I began where I put my very first single crochet, and I'm just going to do a single crochet decrease just to kind of pull that section together. And then I'm going to skip that first stitch and just do a single crochet in the next stitch. And now this is easier to find your stitches now because you're working now in the single crochet. So I'm going to go ahead and single crochet down to the end again real quick, down to this back part. See what it looks like. Yeah, it's more flatter, it looks a lot better, but even still, one more time I want to do a single crochet foundation stitch using the 2 stitches before the sew part and then the 2 stitches after, and then that's it. I wouldn't recommend doing any more in the back part. Also, I want to tighten those stitches. You don't want it to be too loose back there. There we go. So after that second round of decreases in the back, I don't recommend doing it again. This hole can get hard to get your foot in if you make it too small. Learned that the hard way. So this part in the front, I think I'm going to do one more time using these 2 stitches here to do one more decrease here on the toe section just to make this fill in a little bit more, and then that's it. Then this is the beginning now of your 3rd row. So you want to continue to do the 3rd row and then just do straight up single crochet the next 2 rows, so you have 5 rows of single crochets, and then cut your yarn and your booty will be done. So that's it, guys. If you want to be notified whenever I release a new tutorial, you can go to my main YouTube page and click that little bell button beside the subscribe button to always be notified whenever I release a new tutorial. I also share links, group links, link blast, roundups, whatever you want to call them, on my site. So I recommend always going to my website because I'm always putting stuff up there, not just the tutorials. So that's it, guys. Check the links down below. Find me out where I'm on social media, and I hope I'll talk to you soon.